All right, welcome back, my friends. Um, Today I'm going to be reading and studying Psalm 77. I've been using the Psalm Explorer. Uh, so this is the Psalm Explorer. What it looks like. This is like um, I've been looking up some of the material here. So the themes for it is comfort, complaining, doubt, encouragement, love, God, God's power, grief, guidance, holidays, memorial, holiness, miracles, music, prayer, redemption, stress, suffering. Uh, it's part of book 3. It's okay. So I looked up some of these too. Let's go to the beginning. So this is to the chief musician, to Jeduthun, a psalm of David. There's only two of these uh, to the to Jeduthun's. This is the last one. So I cry. This is a staircase. The staircase is when the facts are. Oh man, I already forgot. You know what? I think I studied this earlier, but too much earlier. So let's just read it. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, even unto God with my voice, and He gave ear unto me. In the day of my trouble, I sought the Lord. My soul ran into the night and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. I remembered God and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. The meditation in time of trouble, and verses 4 to 6. Thou art mine eyes waking. Thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I have considered the day of old, the years of ancient times. I call to remembrance my song in the night. I consume with my own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. Has the Lord rejected his people forever? Verses 8 to 10, or 8 to 9. Will the Lord cast off forever? And will he be favorable no more? Is his mercy clean gone forever? Doth his promise fail evermore, forevermore? Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath he in anger shut up his tender mercies? Selah. Verses 10 to 12. And I said, this my infirmity, but I will remember the years of the right hand of the Most High. I will remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember thy wonders of old. I will meditate also of all thy works and talk of thy doings. Because when you talk of his doings, God is always interested um, in your conversation with him. Thy way, O God, is in the sanctuary. Who is so great a God as our God? Thou art the God that does wonders. Thou hast declared thy strength among the people. Thou hast with thine arm redeemed thy people, the sons of Jacob and Joseph. Selah. The waters trembled before God. The waters saw thee, O God. The waters saw thee, they were afraid. The depths also were troubled. The clouds poured out water. The skies sent out a sound. Thine arrows also went abroad. Of the voice of thy thunder was in the heaven. The lightnings lighted the world. The earth trembled and shook. Thy way is in the sea, and thy path in the great waters, and thy footsteps are not known. Thou leddest thy people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Okay, I think that's it. So this is a great psalm. I love this psalm. So yes, when we have complaints, we need to voice our complaints to God. When we have a problem, we need to talk to God about it. When we have a hard choice to make, we have to talk to God about it. I just finished this slide here for my Bible study. Let's see if we can look it up. Uh, okay, let's see. Okay, so this is like maybe too big. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this side of it. Choices and consequences. So this is Nelson Mandela. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Nelson Mandela. Your choices are important. Are important. Uh, are Are you making choices or just guessing? So I have to edit that. Sometimes you make the right decision. Sometimes you make the right decision. Choose rightly with the right focus. If I had my choice of all the blessings I can conceive of, I would choose perfect conformity with the Lord Jesus Christ, or in one word, holiness. Choosing to have a biblical worldview instead of a worldly one. Christians should live in the world, but not be filled with it. A ship lives in the water, but if the water gets into the ship, she goes to the bottom. So Christians may live in the world, but if the world gets into them, they sink. The Dwight L. Moody. And be proactive. Be a proactive chooser, able to rightly divide. If Christianity is valid, why is there so much evil in the world? To this, the famous preacher replied, with so much soap, why are there so many dirty people in the world? Christianity, like soap, must be personally applied if it is to make a difference in our lives. So, and the the lesson for tomorrow is AI. It's about AI, and there's a lot of notes on it that I have, but I just have a little bit notes on this. The name AI means heaps of stones. So the where AI is located, it's just 2 miles southwest or something like that of Bethel. Now I looked at it on the map. If you look at Jericho on this map, it's actually, oh yeah, they have the dot on this side. It looked like it was over here actually, but if you zoom in, yeah, I guess. Okay, never mind. All right, so next, before Jericho was conquered, Joshua declared that everything in it was devoted to the Lord, meaning all the possessions and the people were given irrevocably to the Lord through the destruction. So the thing is, this was part of kind of like a tithe, their tithe. They they are giving something to God, and God is going to protect them. And if they break that promise, well, God could not protect them. And I think that's exactly what happens here. So this is what that I looked up the Babylonian garment, and this is what it looks kind of the picture of it. Although it may be different than this, obviously I don't know what the real one looked like. Only Rahab and her family and the precious metals uh, used for the tabernacle treasure were to be spared. So there's only few things that could be spared, and not anything having to do with garments or whatever AI took. I think he took some gold bars or something like that. So, however, Ankin, however, couldn't resist. He took some of the plunder, hid it in his tent, figuring no one would know. He was wrong. God dealt severely with his sin. First, by judging the nation as a whole, corporately, through though allowing 36 Israeli soldiers to be killed. And secondly, by judging Achan personally. So, and this is like a cross reference here, that deal with false teachers severely. God deals with false teachers severely. I wonder if I can get rid of this button here. Okay, go away. Okay, fine, I can't get rid of it. Alright, so why can't I? Whatever. And this is what it is. Elijah said to them, "Seize the prophets of Baal, and do not let one of them escape, for they seized them." And Elijah brought them down to Brook Kishon and executed them there. There's a really good story in um, Adventures in Odyssey that has to do with this thing. It was really good. I think it was in album number 5. Anyway, um, the consequences were as swift and sure as the destruction of Jericho. The people stoned Achan, his sons and daughters, and then burned their bodies to purge the land of sin. The people heaped large stones, large piles of rock over Achan as a reminder of the awful consequences of sin. So you can also see this in the New Testament, how um, Sapphira, I forgot the other name. Well, it's in Acts chapter 5. So Ananias and Sapphira, they were the ones that tried to tempt God and say that they were selling everything that they had, but actually they were holding part of it back. Now that sin was dealt with. Now that the sin was dealt with, the Lord turned from his anger, and the nation was ready to conquer its enemies. General Joshua, following orders from God, laid a deadly ambush for the people. I like this quote. It was an even better one, but for some reason it didn't want to copy. Um, sorry, it's not looking good. Therefore, the anger of the Lord kindled against his people. He hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. He will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the ends of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. So the reason why he's dealing with them harshly is he wants them to repent. He wants them to call upon his name, um, and to return to him. And there may be other reasons within that chapter. I'm just naming one. Um, one part of the Israeli forces drew the army of Ai out of the city, and then another burned Ai, cutting off the retreat for Ai's army. Then the soldiers of Ai looked back and saw the smoke rising into the sky. They realized they were trapped. So this is basically the same thing. The men of Ai looked back and saw the smoke of the city against uh, um, the smoke of the city rising against the sky, but they had no choice to escape in any direction, for the Israelites who had been fleeing toward the desert had turned back against their pursuers. Check me. So there could be only one outcome in the post victory period. Joshua led the Israelites northward to Mount Ebal, and there renewed the covenant God had established with his people at Mount Sinai. Wow, Mount Sinai. Uh, all right. And I believe this covenant like continued from Noah. It doesn't. The picture has Noah, Abraham, King David, and then the new covenant, but it kind of got blocked off over there. One part of the Israel forces drew the army of Ai out of the city, and then another part burned Ai, cutting off the retreat for Ai's army. When the soldiers of Ai looked back and saw the smoke rising into the sky, they were trapped. They realized that they were trapped. I think I already read that. Okay. That was more? No, I think that's it. Okay. So that is the slideshow uh, for that one. And I wonder if this person is only seeing God's anger, but not seeing the reason behind it, not knowing that God, when He is angry, He never sins. And so he's calling unto God to hear, to hear His voice. But God is never that angry against him personally, but only the sin. In that day, my trouble I sought the Lord, and my sore ran into the night and ceased, for my soul refused to be comforted. That's right. Maybe he had sinned, and this sin, or maybe he had an argument with his spouse, and or something else happened. We don't really know. But there's a lot of times where I've had an argument with my wife, and I'm never really sleepful. I want to. I don't want the sunrise to go down on that. Because I'm not going to sleep real well. Um, so he refused to be comforted. But when you ask for God's comfort, He will give it to you. When you depend on that comfort, but when it's taken away, and it's usually taken away for a reason. I remember God and was troubled. I complained, and my spirit was overwhelmed. Selah. Thou holdest mine eyes waking. I am so troubled I cannot speak. That happens so much. I would just cry. I was so troubled I would just cry because I don't know how to resolve it in my mind. the years of ancient times, I call to remembrance my song in the night, and I consume with my own heart, and my spirit made diligent search. It's good to make a diligent search to rightly divide the situation, to put the situation in God's hand and see how He would deal with it and give it to Him. Just like Hezekiah did when he was in a bad situation, he gave it to the Lord to make diligent search. And we'll stop over here this next verses, and maybe we'll pick it up later. Um, will the Lord cast off forever, and will He be favorable no more? Is His mercy clean gone out forever? Doth His promise fail forevermore? No, God's promises never fail, and that He's God's promises are never forgotten by God. Hath God forgotten to be gracious? Hath He in His anger shut up His tender mercies? The answer is no. All right. I think that God is so great and wonderful that He cannot be questioned in that way. His promises are true and yes. You guys have a great day. And I think this is a great song. Maybe I'll meditate on the next 10 verses and then I'll get back to you for a part two.